We are here in our Amazon QuickSight learning series. Today's topic is going to be advanced QuickSight cost and usage analysis. My name is Ramon Lopez. I'm a QuickSight solutions architect. With me is also Bashi Mehta. She's going to be answering questions on the community. As questions come up, she'll be backing me up. So thank you for helping out, Bashi. First, I want to talk a little bit about the community. Our community is a one-stop location for you to find any information in regards to BI and your journey with QuickSight. We have a heavy usage across our customer solutions architect and a lot of information in our searchable Q&A. We have a learning center. There's going to be a what's new blog that shows you new feature announcements as well as events that are being launched. We have a whole event section that gives you a listing of all the events that have happened and all the events that are happening in the future. And lastly, we're always plugging different events that were happening, like reInvent or other summits that we're running across the whole country or across the world internationally as well. Thank you. The link to the community, if you feel like exploring right now, it's going to be in the chat of the WebEx. We urge you to sign up for the community. And one of the reasons is because we have events just like this, great events where you can learn about QuickSight features, learn about capabilities. We have the weekly learning series. We have monthly events like the new features on the first Friday, like virtual immersion days and the second and third Wednesdays. And finally, the live Q&A where you can ask any questions to a QuickSight expert. This is happening on the fourth Thursday of every month. Now, if you have questions, we have a Q&A place where you can go and ask your questions. I would suggest first searching for the question that you might have, because most likely it's been asked by someone else. So you can search for it, find it. If you don't find it, feel free to ask away. Whether it's me, one of my colleagues, one of our partners, or other customers, we'll gladly take a look at it, explore. It's a place where I go to spend my time when I want to get away from my kids. For today's event, for this little session that we have today, this learning series, there's a special tag, QS-cost-cur, that you can use. We're going to centralize all the questions and all the requests in that tag. So please, if you have any commentary, if there's anything that you want to see that you're not seeing, or any ideas on how we can enhance what we're doing, I urge you to please engage with me through the community. Use this tag. We'll find it and we'll get back to you on it. Lastly, there's going to be a recording for this session. It will be shared at the end via an email, and you will find it on YouTube as well as in our community. So whatever, if you can't miss today or if you have to leave halfway through, you'll have access to it later on. Okay, so to the main course of the agenda, we're going to focus today on some cost and usage data for QuickSight. Specifically, there's some new capabilities being launched, I think exactly today, that are going to change, and I'll explain in detail what change is happening. They're going to give us more information in our cost and usage report. So first, I'll talk about what are the cost and usage reports, where are they, how do I get them? Then we're going to talk about alternative methods for getting them, specifically the CID, the Cloud Intelligence Dashboard. Then we're going to look at these new features in this CUR data. There's new information specific to QuickSight that is very useful and exciting for managing your environment. We're going to take a look at that data, and we're going to do a full demo. In the demo, we're going to look at how you generate the report, looking at the data in Athena, CID data, and exploring how that looks in Athena. And finally, we'll look at a QuickSight dashboard that I built that puts it all together, giving us access to this exciting new data. And lastly, we'll talk about some possibilities, some new things that you can do with this data, and maybe combining with other data sets. First, quick recap. We're all here because we know and we love QuickSight. If we don't know and love QuickSight yet, a little bit about what QuickSight is. It is a unified BI service at hyperscale. It's a tool where you can unify all of your BI requirements in one place. It leverages lower cost consumption-based pricing. So it's really value-driven and allows you to scale and grow and only pay for what you consume. It is an auto-scaling platform. So you can go from 0 to 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 users without having to worry about hardware or additional licensing or some of those challenges that you incur when you need to scale an application from 0 to 1 million really fast. And finally, you're going to find that QuickSight is chock full of exciting new features like augmented analytics, like natural language querying, like advanced forecasting, things that you want to analyze your data. So QuickSight is the place where you can go find all these features in one location. If you're familiar with QuickSight, awesome. We're going to talk about how you can manage your cost of QuickSight within your organization. So what is the cost and usage reports? So the cost and usage report is a section inside of the billing product in the AWS console. And it's the billing section is where you're going to find all your bills, all your payments, all your credits, all your POs. And there's a section here for cost and usage report. And it contains the most comprehensive set of costs available for all of your AWS services. So when you enable the cost and usage report, you are publishing all that cost data, a file that is constantly updating to S3. This data, this file can be hourly, can be daily, can be monthly. So you get to choose the level of grain that you want in that data. And you can pick and choose what type of data do you want to see in there. Do you want only a specific service? In this case, maybe we want to only look at QuickSight data. Maybe you're looking at having a file that shows you all of your data products. So maybe you say, hey, I want QuickSight, Athena, Redshift, Glue, and Lake Formation. I want those 6 services, and I want to analyze a cost for that. You can generate a file just for that. So you have a lot of flexibility in terms of the grain, in terms of what data is in that file. This is all done through the cost and usage section in the billing area, and I will go ahead and do a quick demonstration of that in a little bit. As an alternative, that you can choose a different path for getting that data is to deploy what's called the Cloud Intelligence Dashboards. A Cloud Intelligence Dashboard is a framework that is available and maintained by a team here at AWS. This Cloud Intelligence framework, once deployed, it's going to allow you to do all these things that you see here on the screen. So it's going to pull the cost and usage report data. It can potentially pull from organizations and budgets. It can potentially pull from Tau or from the Compute Optimizer. Then it uses some AWS components, specifically Athena, Glue, and QuickSight to extract, prepare, and report on all that data that we have available. And then there's some very smartly built dashboards. These dashboards are focused on optimization. They're looking at all services in the AWS ecosystem that you might be using, one account or multiple accounts, and it's going to give you data in terms of what you're spending, what you're using, but more importantly, it's going to give you optimization opportunities, tips and tricks, and specific strategies that you can deploy today to save money in AWS.
So I've mentioned that there's 2 ways to get access to this cost and usage data. One of them is the CID or Cloud Intelligence Frameworks. The other one is your cost and usage reports. So comparing the two, first we'll talk a little bit about the CID framework. The first comment I'll say is that it is extremely thorough. It includes all of the services and all of the costs, which is sometimes fantastic if you are the administrator or you're overseeing the whole account. But if you are just looking to analyze one specific category, one specific service, or you just want to get your QuickSight data, it might be too much. One way to do it is to request from your administrator access to a filtered down or with row level security on your data, and then you're able to get access to those dashboards. The other advantage, or I think it's a really powerful thing about CID, is that it can be single or multiple accounts. So if you have many different QuickSight accounts, you're able to consolidate the cost from all of them in one location. On the other hand, the cost and usage reports it's simpler, quick and dirty. You're able to just get that data in a file. You're able to filter that data to a specific service, so there's no need for you to get access to everything. You can ask your billing administrator to just give you a report for QuickSight and with the detail that we want, and you just get access to that. And finally, I think it's one of the disadvantages, but it doesn't affect everybody, is that it's only single account. So those are the 2 options that you have. I suggest picking the best one for your organization.
Now we're going to talk about what's new in the QuickSight Cur data. So there's kind of 5 specific things that have been released today, June 6th, 2023. These features are going to start showing up in your Cur files, and it's adding additional grain, additional information for some of the costs that are already available there for you. For example, and the key thing is that we're going to be seeing user level detail on your CUR data. So what does this mean? So for authors and admins, you're going to see your user ARN in each line for each cost that they incur. For reader costs, whether it's session-based, whether it's user-based, you're going to see that user ARN keeping track of that reader cost. Anonymous sessions with anonymous ARNs are being tracked. So if you're doing session-based pricing and you're using anonymous embedding, you'll be able to see that anonymous ARN keeping track of each individual session, which you can use to link to other information. And lastly, other features like alerting, paginated reporting are also being tracked by dashboard ARN. So we got some of the core usage patterns in QuickSight with additional detail in terms of what is incurring that cost. So it gives you visibility into something we didn't have before. I think it's highly valuable for all of our customers who are looking to optimize their costs, find opportunities, and find also places where they need to place more focus and understand really how QuickSight is being used. Great. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a demo of these features. We're going to start off by looking at AWS billing. So I'm in my AWS console. I search for billing in my search bar and I go into the billing section, and we see on the left-hand side you have your cost and usage reports. This is where you can go ahead and enable these. You're going to see that I have 2 of them enabled. The reason I have 2 is because I was playing with it, of course, but I was also exploring and understanding the different options that are available, and I want to highlight those options. So there's different formats that you can use to deploy the cost and usage report. So not only can you, define what content you want, what do you want resource IDs or not? How often do you want it refreshed? You specify the S3 bucket where you're putting these files, and a few other delivery options. But I think the most important option here is this report data integration. So this is going to define what format is being used to store those CUR files, that CUR data in your S3 bucket. You're going to see how there's 3 options. You have Amazon Athena. If you do Amazon Athena, it's going to store the files in Parquet format, which is the optimal approach for Athena, and it's going to partition the folders as well. If you store it in Redshift format, it's going to be optimized to be loading into Redshift. And if you store it in Amazon QuickSight format, it's going to compress it in a gzip file with a CSV, as well as provide a manifest file for you to easily access the data directly from QuickSight. So these are the 3 options that you can do in terms of setting up this CUR file. And again, you can set up the granularity of it, hourly, daily, or monthly, and then you can define a prefix and where exactly you're putting this information in your S3 bucket. Great. Now, once you've configured your cost and usage report, you got to wait 24 hours for that data to be generated. So the next day, you can come in and you can go in Athena, and you'll be able to find that catalog where you put those files. You can find the tables, the name of the files, and you'll see here that this is my data in Athena. I actually ran a crawler on this as well. So the crawler went ahead and created this table in Athena for me. So that's another step that I did behind the scenes that I won't go ahead and show right now, but it's the typical process for getting a Parquet files directly in Athena. Now that we have this table here, I'm able to write select statements on it. I'm able to query, explore it. And what I've done is I've created a specific view on top of my raw CUR data. This view is going to apply additional logic. This view will also be available in a blog post that'll be published over the next few weeks. Hopefully by the end of this month, it'll be released in June, and it'll include the select statement. If you want the select statement as well, please direct message me, and I'm happy to share it. But this is applying some logic, applying some grouping into our data, and making it a little cleaner for us to use in our dashboards. Now, I talked earlier about the different alternatives to getting this CUR data, one of them being the raw CUR files, which is what we're looking at here. The other option is to implement the CID framework. So one of the things with the CID framework is that it's going to show up as well in Athena. but it's going to create a different database. You're going to see here that raw CID, that raw cur table, which is kind of the same data we were looking at previously. But what CID does on top of that is that it's going to create views. These views are specific for different analysis. And you're going to find all these different views available. So when you implement the CID framework, you're going to get a lot more insight, a lot more information into your data. It's just another reason to consider that CID framework. Great. Now that we have our data ready, we have a select statement that is kind of parsing out the data. We can go ahead and work in QuickSight. So I'm going to give a quick demonstration of some things that I've done in QuickSight. So here we have a dashboard that I've built that is sitting on top of this Athena view. I've pulled it into Spice to do my analysis, and then I am displaying all of our costing data specifically for QuickSight. So this is filtered and only showing you QuickSight cost information. This dashboard eventually will also be available. What we see here is we have a variety of tabs. Across the tabs, you're going to see the breakout of all your standard QuickSight costing. We have in the first tab a high-level cost information per account. Going down into the more detail, you have authors, readers, and Spice. You're going to have Q and other AI costs. You have alerting. You have paginate reports. Those are the main components of QuickSight cost. I have some analysis by namespace. So if you're doing some type of analysis by namespace, now that we have this user ARN, we're able to break out cost by namespace, which is very important and very valuable for ISVs. This will also be detailed out in the upcoming blog post. And lastly, the way I have it set up here, I have a paginated report that is set to send a monthly recap at the end of the month with all the costs from the previous month and comparing it to historical data. So kind of browsing through this dashboard, we have here on our first page some QuickSight billing summary data. We're just taking a look at, this is very similar to the CID dashboards. I kind of mirrored that analysis of costs. So first we'll look at some trends at a high level. How is my cost changing over the last 3 months? Looking at a trend over time, here we have the last 6 months of QuickSight cost data broken out by account. And then we have some high level metrics here. How many active accounts do we have? How many users do we have in total that are being billed? What is my breakdown of cost by QuickSight feature? So I'm breaking down my cost between reporting, Spice, reader cost, QuickSight Q, and author cost. And lastly, here I have a breakdown of those costs as well by month in a table format. So this gives you the ability of taking a look at a high level, what's happening in QuickSight. Is my usage going up? Are my users going up? Etc. Now going into a little bit more grain, we can step into the next tab where we're looking at author cost, reader cost, and Spice cost. So on the left-hand side here, we see some author cost. We'll see that I have month to date, 13 authors and admin. I see a trend over time. We see that there's been an interesting spike over the last few weeks. It's been some projects I've been working on. I've had to create many different users and many different in the existing accounts to do some demos. So we can see that activity right there. We can see what I'm spending this month to date on author and admins with that same trend. And then down below, we actually have a table that's showing me a list of all my usernames with my cost per month by user. Again, these are authors and admins. Great, so I know what I'm spending on my administration, on my authoring costs. Now let's get into the reader activity, which is sometimes a lot of the bulk of the cost potentially if you have a lot of readers. So we can see, hey, what is my month-to-date active readers and active readers per day? We can see what that activity is looking like, and you can see the spikes, etc. How many sessions are being incurred on a daily level? You can see a trend over time. And then we can see a breakdown in terms of how we're being billed. So I have by account, we see that this account is per user, this account is per session, and we see the dollars associated with each. Now scrolling down, I've broken down on the right-hand side a little bit more grain in terms of looking at reader cost by session or looking at reader cost by user. So first we have the session-based pricing. We can see a cost per session month to date, number of sessions in the month of June. We see a trend of session count versus cost per session and a breakdown of those same KPIs in a pivot table. Getting into a little bit more grain, we can see here a breakdown by user. So we see here session-based usage. We see this month we have user 4 and user 2 have the most activity, 3 and 2 sessions. Last month, we see these long numbers here. These are actually anonymous ARNs that you can use to track and map the CloudTrail. So you can know what dashboards these users are using by combining this information with CloudTrail. So that is my session-based usage, where I'm tracking the usage by user by individual session. Now, if you're using user-based pricing, you're able to also monitor that and keep a track of that. It's a little more consistent in terms of the analysis, but you'll see here how you can have the same information. Actually, don't have a table by user, but you can have the same information in terms of the trends over time, my cost per session, as well as some session KPIs and information by user. Great, so we've seen here how we can track at a user level your cost for authors and admins, as well as your cost for reader consumption, session cost at a user level or at a per session level. So you got a lot of flexibility in terms of depending on how you manage your subscription in terms of analyzing that cost. In terms of other things that you can analyze, so we have here QuickSight Q cost, which there's nothing new in terms of the CUR data for QuickSight Q, but here you have a breakdown of your QuickSight Q analysis. Alerting, we do have some new information for alerting, so now you're able to see the dashboard ID that is generating the alert. Yeah, sorry, this is the old version of my dashboard. I don't have it here. But lastly, I want to show the paginated reports. And the paginated reports, now we have a way to actually see which report is generating which cost. So by linking here the dashboard ID and potentially linking it to other data sets, we're able to do a deep analysis and see which dashboards are being used and distributed throughout the organization. Some other things that we can do, like I mentioned, deep diving into alerting, deep diving into cost by namespace. This will all be detailed out in my blog post that's going to be coming out over the next few weeks and the next few months. Okay, so this is the quick demo of the dashboard that I want to show. This is just really a really simple, high level, what's possible, and hopefully giving people ideas of what can be built with this new cost data. Now, I want to go back to the slide for a quick second because I wanted to talk about what's next, what's possible, what could we do with this data, some other possibilities. So there's 2 additional data sets that we can potentially join this cost and usage data with. You have your QuickSight metadata. So this is information that is accessible via our APIs that you can, with a simple Python Lambda script, dump that data into S3 and combine it with your cost and usage data. What can you do with this? So maybe you want to look at those paginated reports by dashboard name because you want to look at the name of the report and kind of tie it together. Maybe you want to look at paginated reports by dashboard name or even by namespace of the dashboard owner. So taking it a bit further and looking at who created that report in the metadata and seeing what namespace they're a part of. So maybe you want to do chargebacks by namespace for paginated reports. This is how you would do that. Maybe you have an anonymous application and you want to see what dashboards are being used and accruing or incurring that cost for anonymous usage on that session-based pricing. You're able to map together the name of the dashboard information, the anonymous usage information, and able to look at by dashboard owner, what is that anonymous usage cost being incurred? Now, in addition to this, maybe we want to look at CloudTrail data combined with this cost and usage data. So this is where it really starts getting interesting because you're combining all the different auditing capabilities, whether it's detailed usage at the CloudTrail level. So these are logs of specific events that are happening that help give us insight into what the user is actually doing, whether it's opening a dashboard, accessing folders, etc. You're able to combine that with the metadata and with your cost and usage to get a full picture of what the users are doing. So this is all thanks to these new capabilities that have been released in CUR. I'm hoping and I'm excited to see what our customers are going to be building with this. We'll be building some assets as well for other users to leverage. but I'm really just, I believe that this is something that a lot of our customers are going to be able to customize and build their own custom, reporting to monitor QuickSight to monitor their BI deployment throughout the organization. So that's really what I wanted to quickly cover today, and give a little insight into some of these new features released. Thank you very much for joining. Again, if you have any specific questions and you want to engage or maybe give us some suggestion, give us some idea, please use that tag. Please use our community. Make a post in the community and reach out to us there. Me and Bashi will be monitoring that over the next few days and engaging with you all to make sure everyone's clear on what we saw today and answer any and all questions you might have. Okay, so now we're going to continue having these learning series as you would expect. Know that next week we're going to have an exciting one. We're going to take a look at the single sign-on setup using a new capability that integrates with IAM Identity Center. This is I'm not doing this presentation. This is a feature that I'm closely aligned with. I've been testing it since the preview came out, and I'm working with a few customers on it. And it's going to be an extremely simplified way to manage your QuickSight groups, integrating with your Active Directory, integrating with your IDP, or just using Identity Center. So this is really exciting. The following session is going to be a no-code approach to predictions. So this is integrating with SageMaker Canvas and using some of their new capabilities so that you can go end-to-end without writing any code, apply some machine learning, get your data into QuickSight, and build out some dashboards. Again, some really exciting stuff. And then additional events that we're throwing here with the QuickSight team. So we have our monthly live Q&A series. The next one's going to be on Thursday, June 22nd, and that's going to be at 12 noon Pacific time. And then we have our virtual author immersion day. There's a few more times for this, so please check in the community for the best time for this immersion day that might work for you. But note that this is it's open to anyone. If you want to learn about QuickSight, these immersion days are the best place to actually go learn, work with an expert, and expand your QuickSight knowledge. All right, so we're right on time, a minute early. Again, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy day. The survey has been posted in the chat. If you got a few minutes, I'd appreciate it if you can go ahead and give us some feedback on the content, on my presentation, and on what you learned today, what we could have done better for next time. Love hearing from you all and learning from you all. Wishing everyone a happy day and a great week, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.